My name is Joyce, and we're here today to talk about organic bug controls. And today we're going to talk about protecting yourself while you're out in the garden. So we're going to focus primarily on products that will benefit you while you're outside to protect you against mosquitoes and fire ants and no-see-ums and other biting pests like that, chiggers. First, I want to update you on what's happening here, and we want to show you a couple things in the demonstration garden. First of all, is that broccoli or cauliflower? I never figured it out. Broccoli has gone to flower, which means it's no longer edible, but it's very beautiful. I've never let mine get that far before I pulled them out. Yeah, and the bees like it, and it's just really pretty. Our cabbage here is gigantic. This is a leaf cabbage. It doesn't form a head, but it's really beautiful with its purple veins. And our bok choy is pretty much done. You can see it's getting ready to flower. It's not producing any more foliage. So this one is about done. But our kale is still doing well here. And we have our Chinese cabbage here that's forming a nice head, even though I have snipped off a bunch of leaves from that over the last few weeks to put in my salad. And then we have another giant kale plant, and our fennel plant is going wild, and so are our onions. And one thing I wanted to show about the onions, you're not going to be mad if I pull this giant one out here. Okay, so I want to show you how much our onions have grown since we first planted them. This is what we planted, and this is what they look like now. So big difference in just a few weeks. They're still not ready to, they're not fully developed yet, but they are ready to eat. And I've been harvesting these one at a time for my salads and eating them as a green onion, and they're delicious. Oh, peas. And we have to show you over here the other side of our garden. Our peas and beans are forming fruit now. I guess you call it fruit. Where did you see a pea on here anywhere? Oh, here's a pea. Here's a bean. Sorry, that's a bean, not a pea.
No, that's a pea.
That's a pea. Oh, the snap pea. Okay, that's a snap pea. Sorry.
And there's other ones.
And yeah, there are a bunch of other ones coming out here. Let's see if we can find any more. We need to trellis this too. So, where are we? Oh, there's a bigger one right there. Get a look at that. Here we go. Look at this. This looks.
It got
the new leaves. Yeah.
It got damaged from one of the cold snaps right after our freeze. But I'm just letting the new leaves come out, and then I'm going to take the damaged leaves off.
Well, it looks beautiful. The new growth looks beautiful.
Yes, it does.
We get so excited about our new babies. There's another pea, but no beans yet.
Nope, not yet.
No beans yet.
Still a little early, I think, for the beans.
Oh, and here's what we just planted from last week's episode. We planted this is a Cherokee purple tomato. We put some marigolds with it, and that is an Ancho Poblano pepper you're looking at. Down here we have a San Marzano tomato, which is sort of like the Romanos, and some more marigolds to use for insect controls. Okay, so let's start with mosquito controls, because they're starting to come out now, and they're just going to keep getting worse. So there are a number of things you can do for mosquitoes, and some of the products I'm going to talk about will also help with other pests. So for example, this product here, the Eco Smart mosquito and tick control, will also kill ticks. So this is a safe organic product for getting rid of ticks, and safe for children and pets. And you can use it all, this is a hose end sprayer, so you just hook it up to a garden hose, spray your shrubs. Mosquitoes like to hide in your shrubs, and so they'll kind of congregate in there until something juicy walks by, and then they'll swarm out all over you. So spraying your shrubs with something like this, your tree limbs, I know it's hard if you have a really tall tree, you can't spray up very high, but ticks are going to be in your trees, and they'll usually just drop on you when you walk by, and so this is a good product for controlling them. Okay, so on the mosquito and tick spray, you can apply that every 3 to 4 weeks. And you want to make sure that you don't have any rain or don't run your sprinklers for at least 48 hours after it's been applied. If it rains or you forget and run your sprinklers, then you'll need to reapply it. But it'll last for 3 to 4 weeks each time you spray. So that's good to know. For broader control, Tammy just reminded me that the EcoSmart granules are, they use clove and thyme oil as the active ingredients. And this is a great product for controlling grasshoppers as well as mosquitoes and no-see-ums. This is going to be something you spread on the ground around your plant. So it's going to do more for things like chiggers and things like that. Mosquitoes flying way up here may not be able to smell the product.
Is that a flea also on the trap?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your question.
Fleas also?
Yes, fleas, ticks, no-see-ums, chiggers. I can't hear you.
Those roly-polies, those little
Roly-polies. I would use the Sluggo Plus. She's asking about roly-polies, whether this product would work on them. I would say probably not. For those, I would use the Sluggo Plus. It's, again, safe organic pellets, little white pellets that you spread on the ground around your vegetables, and they will be attracted to this bait. And it's perfectly safe. I had a cat that used to follow me around when I put this out and eat the pellets. And, so he was fine. The mosquitoes, Spartan mosquito traps are something that will cover a much wider area than, this one will cover a wider area. But this one will actually draw mosquitoes in from quite a distance away and pull them into the trap. And there are 2 traps in each package. Each trap does, I think they say, about half an acre, something like that. You want to put them far apart from each other, but close enough so that they would overlap. And then you just fill them with water, hang them up on any kind of tree branch or shepherd's hook, something like that. We have plant hanger hooks that you can use, that you can hook to a tree and then hang from that. But you want them to be out away from your house, out away from any place where you're sitting and entertaining or anything like that, because obviously they're going to be drawn to this, and so you don't want to be near this. But they work very well. We actually put them up inside the store, right? And they help. We didn't have any mosquitoes the last year or the year before, I don't think. Yes, if you have, again, if you have a seating area, a deck, anywhere, a barbecue kitchen, outdoor kitchen, anything like that, where you want to occupy that space. You want to keep these away from those areas and put, put this out at least, I think they recommend 60 feet from the area that you want to be in. It says it'll work for up to 30 days. Let's see. Place your tubes 80 feet away. 80 feet, ideally. My yard's not that big, so it's hard for me to find, a spot that's far away from my patio. But it still works. It still works. I still had fewer mosquitoes, But the thing about mosquitoes that people don't think about is that there are actually a lot of different kinds of mosquitoes. And some mosquitoes will spend their entire life in your yard and never go more than, 100 feet, 200 feet from where they were born. Other ones will travel up to 5 miles looking for a meal. So when you're putting these out, the ones that are hanging around in your shrubs are the ones that are basically local, to your garden. And there's probably more of them than the other types, but there are other ones that do travel pretty far. So that's one of the reasons you want to have them out on your perimeter, is you want to catch them as they're coming in so that they never get into your yard in the first place. The other important thing about mosquitoes is that they always lay their eggs in water or moist soil. They do not have to have a pond or anything. They can lay their eggs on, I think it's as little as a tablespoon of water. And if you even have really moist soil, they really like Asian jasmine, for example, is a mosquito magnet. I don't know why anybody would plant Asian jasmine, because it's always going to have bugs in it, and particularly mosquitoes, and because it likes that moist soil. And it's, since it's a ground cover, it's really difficult for the soil to dry out. So it stays moist long enough for them to go in and lay their eggs and create a whole new life cycle. They only need, I think, like 48 hours, for the eggs, from the time the eggs are laid until they hatch into a mosquito. And so any areas that you have that might be moist like that, or any areas that where you have containers that collect water. So if you have a bucket you left out, or a rain gauge, or a planter, with the base that underneath it that can hold water, anything like that, you want to put out either the mosquito dunks or the mosquito bits. The dunks are made for ponds and bodies of water, basically. And these can be cut up into pieces and divided up into quarters, and so that you don't have to use the whole thing, because you only need, let's see, it says here, if the surface area is 5 square feet or less, then you only need to use a quarter of a dunk. So a full dunk will do 100 square foot surface area. So that's a pretty big pond. And they last for about 30 days if you use the right size for the area that you're talking about. It's good to put these in your gutters. You can also use the bits too in your gutters, or again, this would be what you would use in your Asian jasmine under your deck. If you have a deck, they will congregate under there because it takes longer for the soil to dry out. So that's another place where they would congregate to lay their eggs. Even, I think you could even put a couple of bits down in your drains, because they will breed inside your home. They will use your house plants and your drains to breed in. And just flushing water down it usually isn't enough to get rid of them. So the mosquito bits would be a great thing to just put. You don't want to clog your drain. It's going to take a while for them to dissolve, and so you don't want to put more than, you know, 1 or 2 little bits in a drain at a time. But that would be one way to control them inside. And then you can also put the bits on top of the soil of your house plants, and that will keep gnats away as well. The gnats will breed in the soil of your house plants, and the bits will control them as well as mosquitoes. Those two things are probably the most important thing. Making sure that you're treating any wet areas so that you're not a breeding center for them. And then spraying your shrubs and trees and your lawn and whatnot to try to kill the adult ones. Okay, so other things in the garden that you want to protect yourself from would be like the yellow jackets and the wasps, things like that. People complain about these a lot. There are a lot of different kinds of wasps. Some of them are actually very tiny. You can barely see them with the naked eye, like trichogramma wasps, which are a beneficial insect that we use to control caterpillars and webworms in your garden. Other ones are as big as helicopters and, you know, dive bomb you every time you're... So these guys, we have several different kinds of traps. There's fly traps and so forth, but this is a yellow jacket trap. Yellow jackets are the most pesty, I think, because they're carnivores. So when you try to have an outdoor barbecue, they're going to be the ones that are trying to steal your dinner. And they really hurt when they sting. They really hurt. They hurt a lot. So again, with traps, anytime you use any kind of a trap, you want to place it away from where you want to be. This one has an attractant that you put inside the container, and then you add some water and they fly into the trap to get to the attractant, and then they can't figure out how to get out again. So they just die inside the trap. So it's a very safe way. You can reuse the traps. You can buy the attractants separately, so you can reuse the traps. They last for, it says 10 weeks. Okay, 10-week attractant cartridge. And then, like I said, you can buy the attractant cartridges separately and then just replace that instead of buying a whole new trap every time. But these work really well, and they're totally safe. And they're only going to attract yellow jackets. So your other wasps, it's not really going to do anything for them. But keep in mind that wasps are pollinators. They are a beneficial insect. The only reason we don't like them is because they'll sting us. You know, I try to leave them alone as much as possible. I don't want them to build their little nests in my eaves, which is where they always seem to want to be, is in your eaves.
3 to 4 weeks.
And then these guys, like I said, you can put these out near your mosquito traps. You can kind of put these together, and that way you'll know that you're getting a good distance away from where you want to sit and so forth, so you're not bringing them into your entertaining area. Let's see, the other thing I would do with wasps and yellow jackets is to just watch when they start trying to build their nest on my patio under my eaves, and get out there and just knock down the nest, and they'll get the idea and go somewhere else, you know. And so you don't have to actually you know, spray them with spray or anything, although you can, but like I said, just keep in mind they are pollinators, so we want to try to let them live if we can. That's my philosophy anyway, is to only use the nuclear stuff if nothing else is going to work, and I really don't want them to bite me. So the Other things you can use to repel them, and actually I don't know if these work on wasps or
I
not.
don't know if it works on wasp. I know it does mosquitoes, fleas, ticks.
Yeah, both the Cedar Warrior cedar oil and the garlic juice are organic sprays, obviously, that you can use to repel mosquitoes as well as a lot of other insects. The garlic smells like garlic, so you might not want to spray that everywhere. The cedar oil smells more nice and fresh and woody like the cedar. But they're both very good repellents. You can spray them on your lawn, you can spray your shrubs just like you can with the, which one were we talking about? The mosquito and tick spray that Tammy's still got. They work very well. And then another way that you can, whoops, I didn't realize the top was off. Another way that you can repel a lot of insects, again, mosquitoes primarily are what these are designed for. Let's see, well, the sticks are made from bamboo with Brazilian andiroba oil. Other than mosquitoes, I'm not sure what all it repels, but I'm sure it smells wonderful. It does smell wonderful. Even with the plastic on it, it smells really great. But these are really cool because you can stick these in, they have these bamboo stakes that are wrapped with the incense, and the sticks you can just put in your garden as you're working. You can light one and stick it next to you while you're working in the garden, and then move it with you. As you move around the garden, you can move the incense stick, so you always have it right near you, and it will repel the insects from that area while you're working. That's what I really like. And they really do last a long while. I have one that I lit last fall, and it must burn for like 6 or 8 hours, because I kept putting it out. You know, I'd go outside for a couple hours and I'd put it out, and then I'd relight it the next time I went out, and I still have some left from that one stick. And you get, what, 12 sticks in a package. So if you're having a party or something like that, you're probably going to want to burn more than one at a time, because you want them to be about 12 feet apart. Anyway, that would be another way to repel them and still also have a nice pleasant aroma. You know, when you're outside entertaining, that's really important, you know, instead of garlic juice or sickening chemical smells. Oh, this stuff here is awesome. Yeah, that's another thing you want to do when you're outside in Texas, is spray yourself with a DEET-free personal spray like the Murphy's Naturals, because I know the health department tells you, oh, you have to use something with DEET, but the truth is that the FDA has actually studied the eucalyptus and, well, the lemon eucalyptus, and it's just as effective as DEET. There is no reason to use a chemical spray on your body. And you can spray this directly on your skin. With DEET, you have to actually spray your clothing, not your skin, because it's not safe. It's a carcinogen. And so the lemon eucalyptus oil is totally safe to spray on yourself. I spray it on myself all the time.
No, it's awesome.
And you can try it while you're here. It smells great if you want to try it, but you can try some. So the lemon eucalyptus is a great DEET substitute. Don't use DEET. It seems to me, this is just anecdotal information, but it seems to me that some people, everybody's body chemistry is different. We know that, but some people have better luck with certain types of oils, and other people say, oh, that doesn't work for me, I have to use this other thing, you know. So when people come to me and say, oh, I've tried, these things and they don't work, I always tell people, try something with a different oil in it, because like I said, everybody's body chemistries are different. So lemon eucalyptus might work great on me, but not on you. So instead use the EcoSmart spray, if that's the case. This one has geranium oil, rosemary oil, cinnamon, and lemongrass. So it's a different blend of oils, and just keep trying them until you find the one that works for you. The spray-ons and lotions and stuff are only going to last for a couple of hours. You're going to have to reapply them if you're still outside. So you can use these on your animals as well. You can spray your dog with lemon eucalyptus oil. Oh, the Murphy's candles. A lot of people use citronella candles. The secret to these things is that, and that's going to be true for these as well, the secret to having them work properly is that you need to start them at least, I would say at least an hour, half an hour to an hour before you plan to go outside, because it takes a while for the fragrance of the product to get going in the air and circulate and become strong enough to for the insects to react to it. So if you wait until you're already out there to light it, you're going to say, oh, it didn't work because, they're still attacking me. That's why, is because you haven't given it enough time to start working. So if you're going to have a party or something like that, any kind of outdoor entertainment where you're going to be outside later, I would go out, like I said, at least a half an hour to an hour beforehand and get these going. And then go out later, and then also too, you still want to wear your personal protection at the same time, because you're moving around and you're not always going to be exactly 12 feet within the incense stick radius. Fire ants. Everybody hates fire ants. They love to get in your containers. They love to get in your raised beds because it's nice and soft dirt that they can dig around in and just have a good old time. Texas A&M specifically recommends on fire ants that you do what they call the Texas two-step. You want to use both a bait and a mound drench. And the reason for that is because fire ant colonies are really huge. They can cover, I think it's like 5 acres or something. One colony can be spread out over a huge area. And so just taking care of the ones in your yard is nice. It's nice to get rid of the mound, but you're not going to eliminate the colony, because unless you coordinate with all your neighbors, to work together to do it, because they're just so huge. And so what you need to do first is to put out a bait, and the organic bait that we have is this Come and Get It. It's little flaky like pieces that you spread on the ground, and you actually want to put these a little bit away from the mound, because the fire ants never forage for food directly on top of that mound. They're always going to go out somewhere first and then start looking for food, because there's too much traffic right on the mound entrance. So a lot of people think, oh, I should pour it there, but no, you want to put it out further away. In fact, sprinkle it here and there all around your yard, because there's multiple holes around your yard that you may or may not see, besides the mound that you're dealing with at the moment. So I always tell people, spread this all around your yard. You don't want to water right after you put this out. So if it's going to rain, you want to wait 48 hours. You want to have dry conditions to put it out for at least 48 hours after you put it out. There's no particular amount that they recommend you sprinkle it around. So, and don't agitate the mound, because that just makes them mad. Then they aren't going to be foraging when they're pissed off, you know. So they're going to just be looking to see who did that, and they're going to come after you. So don't do that. But it says here, ants start dying within 24 to 36 hours of when they eat the bait. I don't know, with fire ants, do the worker ants ever even eat the bait? I don't think they do. I think they just, the workers take it into the nest, but I don't think the worker bees actually, or worker ants actually eat the bait. It's mainly the queen that you're trying to get to, and her little nursery area. But anyway, this would be for trying to keep them, you know, more or less under control and not have the mound come up in the first place. But you are gonna, ultimately, you're gonna have to deal with the mounds. And so the second step of the two-step is the mound drench. And there are a couple of options for that. A lot of people like the Nature's Creation Fire Ant Killer. This is a concentrate. It's a liquid that you mix with water. With both of these, this is a powder. This is a little bit different. This one has rosemary oil, wintergreen oil, and some other inert ingredients. So it's mostly rosemary oil. And this one is just diatomaceous earth, regular diatomaceous earth with pyrethrin in it. I like this one best myself. Either one of these you mix with water. It doesn't really say how much to use. But you mix it with water in a bucket and then pour that liquid onto the mound. It talks in terms of making them by the gallon. So it says, you know, to use so much per gallon, but fire ant mounds can be really extensive. And the queen is going to be down at the bottom of that area. So the more liquid that you can put on that mound, the more ants you're going to kill. And so you want to basically keep pouring liquid on that mound until it starts coming up out of the ground and you see backflow. So a 1 gallon may or may not be enough for that mound to really get deep down inside of it. And then usually once you've drenched the mound, they're going to move. They're going to move from that spot, and they're going to move to some other spot, and then you'll have to drench the new mound. But it should knock them down if you're doing a really deep drench, like it says to. If you're doing a really deep drench, you should knock down the population enough that you shouldn't see any new mounds coming up for at least, I don't know, a week or so, I would say, till it rains again. Yeah. Then they'll come up. This product here is also pyrethrin, DE with pyrethrin. One thing about pyrethrin is it's light sensitive. So once you, this is why they put it in an opaque canister, is because the product is light sensitive. This is also opaque for the same reason. This is a little harder to deal with because of the way the container is, but it's basically the same thing as what's in here. But what we use this one for is for chinch bugs. You can spread this on your lawn and it will help get rid of the chinch bugs. And we use this in our organic maintenance program when our customers have issues with chinch bugs. This is what we do. We come out and apply this to their lawn. And I should mention too, DE by itself is really great for some insects, but not for fire ants. You really need the one with the pyrethrin in it or the rosemary oil to kill the fire ants. But DE works really great on other insects that have an exoskeleton, like cockroaches. Yeah, we like killing cockroaches. Did you know those things can fly? Holy cow, I didn't know that until a couple weeks ago. I was watching TV and one flew in front of my TV screen. I was like, what is that? It was a cockroach. Jeez. I don't know. I come from California. We don't have that there. We don't have flying cockroaches. Yes, you can put a line, create a perimeter with this product, inside or outside. You can do that. It does have to be dry. Once it gets wet, it's going to cake, and it needs to be powdery for it to work. But you can, use, this has a sprinkle top, so it's got the holes in it, so you can sprinkle it out nice and easily. And
also have,
just go like that and make a line, and the bug has to.
puffers.
Yeah, we also have puffers, so you can get into corners. Yeah, those are really nice. You just put this in the puffer and then squeeze it, and it pushes it into the cracks and crevices. And that's great too. So, but anyway, so DE is great, but not for fire ants. Okay.
Other ants though, correct?
Actually, no, it doesn't. They just go around it. They don't like it, but yeah, I had some in my kitchen one time. They were going after my cat food, and I didn't want to use anything poisonous around my cat food, obviously. And so I tried putting a perimeter around it, and they found a way, they found a spot where there wasn't any DE, and then just went that way, so they won't go through it, but it won't kill them if they do go through it. And like I said, you can do this outside as well, but if it gets wet, then it won't work anymore. You have to reapply a dry product. Oh, we didn't really talk too much about chiggers. Those are another annoying thing. They don't seem to bother me. I've never had much of a problem with chiggers, but I know that a lot of people do. And the EcoSmart will take care of them.
Yes.
It should keep them off your ankles, yeah. And the main problem with chiggers is your ankle areas. And so you want to make sure, your waist, they get to your waist.
Get in anything tight, so around the band of your waist, around the band of your bra,
Okay,
around your sock edge.
Okay, so she's saying anything where there's a waistband or a tightly fitting clothing or something like that. So your bra area, ladies, or your socks. Since they don't bother me, I don't know that. But yes, chiggers, you want to make sure that you've treated the ground, because that's where they are, versus mosquitoes, which are flying around. This product is going to be very effective on chiggers and no-see-ums and that type of thing. Another thing that works that we don't have out here is just dusting sulfur. Dusting sulfur will take care of chiggers, and you can dust your lawn with that. I had a friend tell me that what she does is during chigger season, she keeps a sock filled with dusting sulfur on her front porch. And every time she goes outside, she dusts her ankles with the sulfur sock. And that keeps the chiggers off of her ankles. She says that works great. So that's how to take care of them. So I think that's about all. So unless you ladies have more questions, I think we'll wrap it up here. And next episode, we're going to talk about squash and cucumbers, and as part of that class, we will talk about squash vine borers and squash bugs, which are two different critters and need to be treated differently. All right, so that's it, plants. All right, thank you for being here today. We appreciate your patience, and thanks for coming out.